I'll just read it out. So I'm going to be 1 or 2 Delta for the first time on field day. I understand D stations can't count contacts with other D stations for points. My question is it considered bad etiquette for a D station to answer another D station's CQ? Would it be unwelcome, assuming that station calling CQ is looking for points? Question mark. Or am I being too sensitive and should I just man up because it's field day? Right. So Bill, Zach, Ben, I'm not sure I've seen Norm yet. What's your sense here? Is field day a contest? I didn't think so.
If you know that they're a D station, though, the contest guys aren't going to appreciate the contact because it doesn't give anyone points.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always know that they're a D station, but and most people will go, okay, that's fine, but there's always going to be the one guy who's going to go, well, why did you try to contact me? Or they will ignore you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, you might not know they're a D station until you start passing the section stuff. So if you're just calling CQ, you're going to make your contact and then say, okay, I'm 1 Delta Santa Barbara. Oh, well, I'm also 1 Delta Texas. So that's when you're going to learn, I think, unless you've been reading the mail.
If he doesn't want to contact, he won't answer you.
Well, the point is that he's not going to know if you're a 1D until he answers you.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the bottom line is, you know, you can always say, oh, sorry, 1D, you know, and I remember coming back to a guy one time calling DX and he read me the riot act. And I keyed back up and I said, you know what? You're an idiot. Thank you very much. You have a great day. And, you know, change to another frequency. So I wouldn't, you know.
The one thing, if I could interject for a second, I saw Adrian's reply, and I think this is a good group here. You know, we have enough potential to lose power due to, proactive power outages. I have a small generator at home. I also have a, battery box for portable ops, but I'd almost say anybody should have a small generator, just, keep I keep the fridge freezer going, et cetera. And, for less than, I think, $600-700, you can probably pick stuff up. It'd be a good investment. And, you could now be an E-station, would be my suggestion.
I think a couple of things to throw in here. Number one, if you are listening and you hear a station calling and you hear the exchange, you'll know what both of those stations are, because they'll have to say they're a Delta if they're a Delta.
Mm-hmm.
In which case you can just skip calling them. Okay. Or this is no worse than an etiquette breach than to have, to call on a station that's calling CQ and find out that it's a dupe. So I don't think if anybody gets upset, it's on their problem. It's their issue, not yours. And yours just made an honest mistake.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think if I'm operating as a D station and you call me, I'm going to be happy to take your QSO and operate you, even if I can't submit for points.
Yeah. We'll have to see how the conditions are. I remember when I was working, 10 meters last year, I was happy to find anybody.
If the band's as bad as it has been, I think that's going to be the case.
It was, and the thing is, you'd listen to a voice. Oh, I talked to them already, right? Because we were all hanging around the national call. There were maybe half a dozen of us I could hear at any one particular time, right? And it was, I don't know, I had 20. I think Andy AG6, K6 AGL. I think you were working 15. How was it? Did you get a lot of contacts on 15 last year?
A little more than 10 meters, but I can't remember what the total was, 25 or 30, something like that.
Yeah.
But it was pretty slow.
Right. So I imagine since we're all going to be working at home, we'll tune to 20 and 40, right? So maybe we'll concentrate on the bands of most likelihood, and there might be more traffic out there.
Hey, Andy, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm in the same boat, maybe as Martin.
I didn't realize there's some restrictions on who I can talk to, that their class, quote unquote, stations I can't respond to. I thought I would just talk to anybody. But
No, that's not true, Bob. You can talk to anybody. You can talk. You can QSO anybody. The caveat is that if you're a D station and you work another D station, that's fine. You can do that. You just can't count that when you submit your entry to the ARRL for points. So you're allowed to QSO anybody. It's just that if two D stations, that's two stations that are on commercial power. If they work each other, that's fine. They can do that. They can QSO. It's just that doesn't count for points if you're contesting.
So if I talk to a guy in Joplin, Missouri, I get a contact out of that, but I can't submit him to ARRL.
Right. You just can't use that for your entry for contact for points.
You certainly can submit the QSO in your log, and you can log the QSO. It just doesn't count for points. So you don't have to parse your log. You can have it in there. That's not an issue. The logging software will gladly log it for you, although it won't give you any points.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't care about that. I like the contact and get to talk to somebody and see what my radio and antenna can do. But as for points, I'll log everything. And whether I submit it or not I really don't care.
Yeah, I feel the same. I'm the same way. I'm going to make as many contacts as I can.
Yeah.
Well,
the follow-up question to that is, will the software know that it's a D talking to a D and not tally up the points?
The two software packages that we have been touting, both will basically not give you points, but log the QSO.
Great.
There you go.
The intent of my question was, I legitimately wanted to know if I am hearing, a station's calling CQ, and maybe I've heard a few other people make the exchange. So if I know that station is a D, that's where I was asking, would it be kind of tacky or bad etiquette on my part if I responded to a CQ knowing that I'm a D and that neither one of us are going to get points on it? So that was.
Well, Andy, I'll answer it this way because I think it's the best way to answer it. I'm going to run as an E, and that way I don't have a problem.
You're going to what?
I'm going to run as an echo station, and that way I don't have a problem.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of batteries and stuff like that.
No, and
So,
I understand. I totally understand your question. And is it tacky? It's in the mind of the beholder. I wouldn't be offended if I was calling CQ on a D station and anybody came back to me. Field day is not a contest, and God, but gosh, I got you, Bill. Anyway, but no, truthfully, I don't think I'd be offended, and I don't think anyone should be offended. If you knew it and you're asking the question, so you might be concerned or feel bad for doing it, then you shouldn't do it. If you personally feel bad, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it, other than you're just taking one more person in a pile up. Is all.
Okay, Andy, I think. Oh, go ahead, Norm, and then Keith had a question.
I was just going to say it might be that last state you need for worked all states too. I mean, just because the guy is a D and a D, you need that state. You can still work them.
Maybe you could listen to see how he's handling other D stations when other D stations call him.
I think so.
I'm the new guy who hasn't done this before, but it seems pretty strong to me that if somebody's decided to be a D and they're calling CQ, then it's their problem if they get replies that are not going to give them a point. Otherwise, it's just like calling CQ but being mad because you wanted DX stations and somebody local answered you.
So from prior field days too, is you don't hear a lot of D stations calling CQ either. They're doing a lot of pouncing. It'll be interesting this time because so many people being at home. So who knows?
Mm-hmm. So I think the consensus is if someone's offended, it's shame on them, Andy. Shame on them.